What is up, guys? So it has been a while since the last video. I actually edited that video this morning right before I came here, and I believe the last clip was from mid-February or so. It's currently April 7th. It's still not warm outside. So what I've been doing is really staggering any video content I had as, you know, spreading it as thin as I possibly could so you guys had something to watch in the meantime. But hopefully this week it's supposed to get warmer, and as it gets warmer, I'm gonna try to work on the car more. And there'll be more nice, bright, sunny content and hopefully happy things. Bad news is, in that last video, like I said, I just edited it, so I just saw the way that left off was that the car was running great and everything was fine. But unfortunately, the car is still having some sort of issue. One time I'll drive it, it'll feel amazing and great, and then I'll go around the block one more time and it'll have some weird like limp mode or something's kicking in. So I know it's very discouraging. It's been too cold to try to mess with it, but today I'm gonna try to dive into it and try to see if I can cancel some things out. So I've been reading online and talking to some people in the community, and I've put together some things I want to try today, hopefully. First thing, I want to try to check the coil packs for cracks. A lot of people have said that that's a major issue with these cars, and I thought I might have solved it by buying new coils. I'm going to check that just to rule that out 100%. Second thing, and what I think to be the most likely issue, because it just makes the most sense to me logically, is a fuel delivery issue. So I'm not sure if something with the fuel injectors, maybe there's a clog in the line somewhere. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get a fuel pressure gauge, and I'm going to somehow plumb it so I can see it in the car, and I'm gonna take it around and I'm gonna see if the pressure drops. So I'm gonna try to tackle those two things in this video, and maybe by the end we'll be able to rule out what's actually going on. So stay tuned. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna pull each plug wire and coil at a time. I'm gonna start the spark here where it would normally jump to the spark plug, and I'm gonna see if it jumps somewhere up here. If it jumps from here to this ground, then I know it's cracked. So I'm gonna check around each coil and plug wire while it's running. Hopefully I don't zap myself too bad, and maybe we'll find out what the issue is. Nice. So this is what a coil is supposed to look like. See how the ground is way outside and it's still arcing? Only one of mine is doing this. I'll show you what a bad one looks like. So as you can see, nothing. Nothing, 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 nothing. Now it's finally arcing. So it's super weak and you can hear it. The other thing, which I'm not gonna show, is this plug and this plug, as I was taking them out, like arced to my hand. They really hurt. And I checked with the ground, and around the boot here was actually arcing. So one plug wire, two plug wires are bad, and two of my three coils are also bad. So I have an extra set of coils. I might try checking them and see what they do. If not, I'm gonna have to buy some new ones. But with any luck, we might have enough good ones in the other set I have to make one good set. So wishful thinking. That's jumping through the paint right now. So as you can see, these other coils I have, the ones that were originally in the car, are great. So hopefully that was the issue, and it's gonna feel amazing now. Right, Ted? Oh boy. Holy shit! I said it rips. That was the thumbnail of the last video. What do you call this then?
Rips is definitely the wrong word. I will say that.
Oh my god. It feels so good. Oh my god. This is insane. Okay, let's just hope that at high load it does the same thing. It doesn't drive like ass. If I can even get traction. To be honest though, I still feel like it's missing something up top. But it's responsive. You know?
It's never been that responsible.
No. Somehow that felt better and worse at the same time. I feel like the issues with this car can never be solved. It's kind of amazing. Hey, but Ted, do you hear that?
It's idling.
No, not only is it idling, do you hear a beeping sound?
No.
That's right. Because I ripped the gauge cluster and beat the shit out of the beeper. It will never be bothering anyone ever again.
Oh my god, it's been that long since the last video.
It's been that long.
Holy shit.
Sit rep. It feels much more responsive. The coils were definitely bad, but there is still a persistent issue. At high RPM, it like gives up. Let's see if it's doing that limp thing again though. Yeah. Thanks. So this is the current issue we're having. I'm gonna mat it and watch the RPMs. Still matted. Let it sit for a few minutes and see if that does it again. Because this happened before, and I did this. What the F? So it seems like it's becoming a common theme with this car that not one thing will solve any problem, and that there must just be a ton of stuff wrong with it, because every time we fix something, it seems like something gets better, but it doesn't actually fix the entire issue. Out of the two things I wanted to do, the coils were actually bad, but that wasn't the entire issue. So next up is fuel pressure. So unfortunately we're out of time today. We both have things we got to do, but next time I'm here, I'm gonna try to test fuel pressure. I'm gonna get a tester kit or something, maybe just a gauge, and we'll try that out. But hey, progress is progress. I guess, yeah. So yeah. And hopefully by then it'll be warmer. Don't worry, buddy. Soon you will be an amazing Dorifto machine. But for now, you must remain dormant. Oh man, I really love how this thing looks. What's up, guys? So I rigged up an oil pressure gauge to tie into the fuel line. And I started at the back because it was easier to get to. And I don't know if you can see that, but right now, the car's not running or anything, it's just in the on position, and we're getting 45 PSI, which is exactly what 1Js are supposed to have with zero vacuum. So now I'm gonna hook it up to the front, and I'm gonna run the car and check it, and then if all goes well, I'm gonna try to drive the car while checking it. Fingers crossed nothing blows off, but we'll try that out. Also, the keen-eyed viewer might notice that the Z is in front of the RX7, which might be kind of weird since this is a long-term project. Well, very bad news. That actually needs a motor. The other night it spun a rod bearing on me, and it has plenty of oil. So I'm kind of stumped as to what caused it. I guess we'll know when we take it out, but expect a video on pulling a motor in a 370Z. I really didn't want to have to do that, but you know, it's unfortunate and shit happens. But I'm gonna try to keep on with the RX7. I don't want to put it too much in the back burner, but it is gonna hurt me a little financially having to deal with that, and you know, just time-wise doing both vehicles. So I do apologize if the RX7 content's a little slow, because now I have to fix my daily driver, which really sucks. But back to the 7 for now. Unfortunately, we ran out of daylight, but as you can see, it's about 40 PSI at idle. And then, let's see if I can do this. Okay, 40 PSI. Let me get my, what did I do?
I'll just do it with my hand. If I pinch off the return, it goes up to 45. So 50-ish. So we have plenty of fuel pressure. But now I'm going to try to rig this in such a way that I can drive the car and still see it. But what I can say is we are not leaking any fuel, which is good news. So I have the fuel pressure gauge sitting on the hood here, and I'm going to hopefully hand the camera off to Ted, and hopefully he'll be able to tell me if that needle drops up into the load. Is that going to totally die on us or what? Let us see. Bitch. God damn, that messes everything up. Why did you have to fail? You never know what you're buying. You know, that thing ran really nice and it started to develop this weird ticking sound even when I had plenty of oil. It's just one of those situations. You never know what you're buying, because I'm sure that the previous owner ran out of oil one too many times or got it pretty low, because it definitely consumed oil. And I mean, I noticed, but it still managed to spin a bearing. Yeah. So it sucks. You know, it's going to probably cost me somewhere between $2,500 and $3,000 to fix it. The dealership wanted like 15,000 something.
Yeah.
But I only took it to the dealership because I was praying it might have been something with like the variable lift cam or something that was making a similar sound, and they'd be like, "Oh, that's this noise."
Oh, you only need one head and 3 pistons.
Yeah, but they charged me $130 to just tell me what I already knew, so that really sucks too. But that's a problem for another day. We're dealing with the RX7, and it's not fuel related. It is whatever. Hey, now we all have Z's, and all of our Z's are basically broken, so that's fair.
That's true. None of our Z's run, but 2 of them have engines. Yeah.
Yours has 2.
It does.
Technically.
Only one of them.
So I was trying to figure out what else could be an issue with the RX7, and I started to look into the trouble codes that the wiring specialty harness puts out, and how I wasn't being able to get any. So I looked into that farther, and I'll show you what I found.
Why the check engine light from the wiring specialties harness stopped working, and I hooked up another bulb, and this bulb is flashing codes. So the LED that came with the kit is bad, and if I would have tried this earlier, it might have saved us some time. But I'm gonna write down all these codes and we'll see what it tells us.
Well, I cleared the codes, and then I took it for a drive, and it came back with 2 codes. One was a code 47, which points to the secondary throttle position sensor, which I don't even use, so that's going to come up every time. But the other code, it was a code 59, which is the VVTi solenoid. So if I would have looked further into this before, we wouldn't have had to do all this wild goose chase trying to find the issue. But like I said before, I thought there wasn't any codes because it wasn't flashing, but it turns out the light was bad. So it's most likely a VVTi issue. So I'm going to look into diagnosing that and figuring out what's going on with that. But yeah, progress. We actually have some clues now, which is awesome.
Up to the solenoid. I actually pulled it out first. And when you hook up 12 volts, you can see that that hole actually opens very aggressively. So we know that the solenoid's not the issue. So I'm not sure what else to test.
So we looked into the VVTi solenoid, and there's a wire that's supposed to have 12 volts constant power, and it didn't, so I gave it 12 volts constant power. But the ground wire that's supposed to be triggered by the computer was just constant ground. So it's kind of leading me to think there's another ECU issue, which sucks, but at least we kind of know what's going on. Once we cleared the codes, that's what tripped the code, was that misfire we were having, so that's that. And also we started tearing into the Z and got the front end mostly off, but that'll be for another video. So thanks for watching, guys. I will see you in the next video. Bye.